African Foundation for Premature Babies, and newborn. And it's about to be a very informative month of November on Good Living segment right here on Prime Morning, because the entire month actually is the purple month. You know, we just ended the pink October, and so we have entered the purple November, if I should put it that way, the purple November, and it is dedicated to pushing and creating the awareness of preterm babies and neonatal and new babies. And I don't know how to feel about this. I'm pretty emotional about it because I know a number of people, a number of women who have had to experience birthing premature babies. Some of their stories are quite interesting. Some of the things that they have to battle emotionally and all that. And I'm excited that the month of November is dedicated to that. And so we are officially launching that today right here on Prime Morning. And we have the perfect people to get into the official launch today. My name is Asiedua Akomia. This is Prime Morning, and this is the Good Living segment right here on Prime Morning. And so for us to delve into the conversation surrounding preterm babies, ladies and gentlemen, I always love to be gender biased when I have to introduce my guests. And so let's do ladies first. She's in the person of Selina Bintum. She's the founder, of African Foundation for Premature Babies and Newborn Care. So that's, the very short clip that you just watched. She is the founder. She's the brain, the beautiful brain behind it. Good morning, Selina.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. And good morning to your viewers as well.
Okay. And then seated to her left is Dr. Selorm Makafui Kwashie, specialist obstetrician and gynecologist. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, today, you're going to be, going to the other side to give us some more details into preterm babies, which I'm excited about. Today, we are going to learn so much. And so, Selina, first of all, I want you to tell us a bit about AFPNC and then what exactly you do.
So it started from my personal experience.
Yes.
10 years ago, I suffered a condition called, afterwards I learned that it's called a premature rupture of the membrane. So simply put, my water broke. I was just, waking up to use the washroom, and my water broke. And
how long were you?
Now I'm learning. It's 30 weeks and 5 days.
Okay.
And the doctor's immediate concern was to help my baby's lungs. So when he has to come out early, he can breathe on his own, and the survival chances could be increased. I was still losing the liquor, which is the water around the baby, was also called the amniotic fluid.
Yeah.
And after almost 48 hours, the doctor wanted to force labor, and the midwife insisted against that and said that no. But by the end of the day, the midwife won the back and forth, I remember, because the doctor took me to the scanner room and said that we are losing so much water and the baby's in distress. And the final decision was that emergency cesarean would save me and the baby.
Wow.
It was during the procedure they found out that the baby had tied his umbilical cord around his neck twice, and the water left was less than 250 ml. And if they had delayed...
That's like half a sachet of water.
I think even a half, yes.
Yeah.
And the doctor said that if he had gone ahead to force labor, which was his initial advice, we would have died. Because whilst you're pushing, it will lead to prolonged labor.
Yeah.
And that would put the baby in distress. This is a baby who's already in distress for almost 48 hours, and which means that any further delay could have compromised. And Doc will confirm this. Prolonged labor contributes to maternal mortality. Because sometimes by the time they make the final decision, the woman would have lost strength, or other complication would have set, especially if there's an underlying condition for the woman. In my case, by God's grace, I had no medical condition that was determined in the course of my pregnancy that I was aware of that suggested that I was high-risk patient or I could suffer preterm birth. So it was our journey through the NICU. We were separated from birth. I didn't see my baby, and I remember I didn't even know what emotion to feel, but I prepared myself to embrace the news that maybe he had passed. Because for what I saw come out of me, that it showed to me like as a baby, didn't look like a bouncing baby. His skull looked like it was split. Didn't look like a complete baby.
Okay.
So it was my journey through the NICU. When we were reconciled and I saw him in the NICU, I asked questions. I saw other mothers. I broke down to uncontrollable tears when I saw him. Didn't know what to feel. And as I observed, by the time I left the place, I was inspired to turn this into intensive research and understand, why did it even happen to me?
Yeah.
Who else is this happening to and what is being done?
Yeah.
So after my research, I was inspired to start an organization that will work with stakeholders to bridge the gap in the area of advocacy and awareness, research, strengthening stakeholder partnership, and improving quality in standards of care.
Okay, now speaking about, you question yourself how and why, I want to bring Dr. Kwashie in this. How does that happen? How do you get to that point where you end up having a preterm baby?
Yeah, thank you very much, Asidua. So actually, to have a preterm baby, several things could go wrong.
Okay.
Had a myriad of causes. In her case, her water broke before the time, what we call premature rupture of the membrane. And
what could have caused that?
Yeah, so that could result from the water around the baby being excessive, too much, so that the pressure in the abdomen will cause the membrane to bulge out, and then the water could break.
Okay.
It could also be as a result of an infection in the vaginal infection that is not properly treated, that could climb up and cause weakening of the membrane, and then the membrane could break. Or even trauma could cause the membrane. In her case, there was no trauma. Somebody could have a road traffic accident or even a blunt trauma to the abdomen. Any of that could cause the water to break. In some situations, we don't even know what happens. We could not find identifiable cause.
This is just a by the way question. We'll still move. You continue what you're saying. A number of times, you hear people when people are talking about the developmental projects in their constituency. They talk about bad roads, and then they speak of bad roads being terrible for pregnant women, most especially, because they could lose their babies because of how bumpy the road is and all of that. And I've always wondered, how could that affect your baby in your womb? But you just spoke about trauma, so I want you to highlight that a little bit for me.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's technically it's very possible.
Okay.
When you are falling into a pothole in the car, the constant jarring of the abdomen, that could also increase intra-abdominal pressure, and technically that could occur. That could be okay. So that's very feasible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So let's talk some more contributing factors.
Yes. So one main risk factor for preterm birth is women that are carrying more than one pregnancy. So twins, triplets, the risk actually increases for preterm delivery.
Okay.
And also, as I said, if you have infections, genital tract infection in the vaginal infection that's not properly treated, it could climb up all the way to affect the membrane that is surrounding the baby, and then that could occur. Even some dental infections, caries, can put you at risk of a preterm delivery.
Oh.
Yeah, and then there are some lifestyle factors, like even stress. When you are under a lot of stress, a woman is under a lot of stress.
Don't give all that away, because I believe that you're going to highlight a little bit more when you go to the screen.
Yeah, definitely.
And, show us some detailed pictures and all of that to buttress your point. And so I want to come back to Selina, your journey. Now, I love the point where you spoke about you saw your baby. You couldn't even tell that, the fully formed baby, you broke down into uncontrollable tears. Let's talk about how emotionally that had a toll on you.
So much. And I think in my case, I get this question a lot because of the line of work I do with the foundation.
Yeah.
They wonder, how did you cope? I said,
yes.
You live in Ghana. Yeah. You're here, it happened in Ghana.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the nature of the stress levels, around us, it's you sometimes you don't take care, you don't even notice that you're stressed. But in this particular case, I realized that perhaps because of my personality, my coping mechanism is rather helping other people and zooming into work. So I took all of those emotion and energy.
You put it into work. Into the organization.
I mean,
starting it.
Yeah. Like, why is this happening?
Yes.
Who do we help? How do we get this done? No, I'm not going to be a victim. We are going to come out of it. God saved us for a purpose.
Oh, I like that.
And so we will turn this pain into purpose. We will see what we can do. We'll see who is doing what and how do we align, join forces to make this work. So my energy went into that, and also putting smiles on mothers' faces, seeing how initiatives, creative, innovative concept that I was exploring with support of other affected families and healthcare professionals, the pilot initiative, they were yielding results, and you could see the measurable impact. For somehow, my fears and my worries started drowning in the process of giving help to other people, and also leaning on family also became another important coping mechanism for me.
Okay.
They were extremely supportive, and that is a blessing in the journey, which is not the case for a lot of people. Some people, the stigma. In my case, it was not, because family was surrounded with others in the family who have a health background as well. Very close, intimate family. So I had that support system, and of course, my faith put me through everything. So when the medical science didn't make sense to me, when the questions I asked, I couldn't get answers, when I could look at my baby and I'm like, they say that you're going to stay here for 3 months, but we are getting out of this place in a week, because I don't see myself coping beyond 1 because I was at my lowest.
Okay.
And indeed it happened. That's where I say my faith. Just 7 days were discharged. I suffered lactation deficiency, and I'm sure Doc will explain.
Dr. Kwashie, can you move to the screen whilst you get ready?
So the lactation deficiency is when you are not producing the quantity of milk that you should.
Right.
The most I could get was 10 mil. 10 mil. And so I had to do formula feeding for my child when we left the NICU. And so to answer your question, 1, my faith. Number 2, when I found purpose in my pain and started giving back. And also 3, family became my support system.
It's incredible. And I love this for you, that you had the right people around you to, take you through. Doc, are you ready to, start the presentation? But Selina, I want you to think about some of the working with women, with these women, and hearing their stories, having to help them go through all that they went through. What are some of the knowledge, ideas, myths that they had about having preterm babies? I would love for you to share that, because there are so many stories out there, so many ideologies that people have about preterm babies. It's crazy. It's really, really wild. And so
it's interesting you're talking about this, because Doc and I were having the same discussion. I think you've asked questions that we were actually discussing before joining the call. And I'm very happy to, and I think that we would not be able to exhaust this at a sitting, but I believe that a conversation it will spark another type of conversation in homes, in offices, so that from here, and thank you to Multimedia Joy for partnering. I think you've done amazing, and I'm sure by the time we end, we would have done some good.
Definitely. Okay, so Dr. Kwashie, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so we really need to know a lot about prematurity. And it's very, very important to know that about 15 million newborn babies are born preterm every year.
15 million?
Every year we have about 15 million newborns that are born too soon. And what at all is prematurity? Where do we say that a baby is born preterm? So if a baby is born before 9 months of pregnancy, then we say that baby is born preterm. But they are all not the same as well, because we can group them again into those who are extremely preterm, those who are very preterm, and those who are just preterm. So if it's before 7 months, that's 28 weeks, then we said, this baby is extremely preterm, because the needs of this baby are vast, more than a baby that is born, let's say, around 8 months. So if between 7 to 8 months, then we say you are very preterm. And
I have about 30 weeks.
Yes, that was 30 weeks. So that was very preterm baby. And if it's between 8 months and 9 months, then we said it's just preterm.
Okay.
So when a baby is born, as you can see, look at this baby. This baby is extremely preterm. Baby A, you can see extremely preterm, around 28 weeks gestation. You can see all that we've connected, the monitoring devices, as compared to a baby that is born at 8 months. This baby too is a preterm baby, but their needs are vast, and it's important to know that they are not all the same.
The same.
Yeah. So what at all will result in a baby? This is the million-dollar question. Why will a baby be born preterm? There are biological factors, there are medical factors, as well as social or lifestyle factors. So if you want to look at, let's say, some of the medical factors, as I said, if you are carrying twins, triplets, quadruplets, I know we want those ones, but the risk for preterm delivery is very, very high. And then when you look at infection, you can see this bad guy here. If you have infection in the vagina, that spreads all the way to infect the membrane that is surrounding the baby, and then the fluid surrounding the baby. Once there is infection there, it all weakens the membrane, and the membrane can rupture and then incites a preterm labor. Another thing is that sometimes the woman his life is at risk, like hypertensive disorders, like preeclampsia, eclampsia. I'm sure you've heard about that, hypertensive disorders in pregnancy. When you have that and the life of the mother is at risk, that one the doctors themselves will elect to deliver you preterm because your life is at risk and you could die in a pregnancy.
Which was in her case at some point?
She didn't have any risk factors.
Okay, so the point where the doctor wanted to induce labor, what would you term that as?
So her membrane had ruptured.
Yes.
Yes, so I think based on the baby wasn't doing so well, based on their monitoring, that's why they wanted to deliver before the time. And another cause is premature rupture of membrane, as in Selena's case. You could see that the membrane ruptured before time. So when that happens, our worry is this baby fit enough to come out? Because when the baby comes out, the lung breathing problems will be there. And another thing you are also worried about is that if we don't deliver, the baby could also get infection, develop pneumonia, cord sepsis, a lot of problems could arise. So it's really a very difficult and challenging moment for the healthcare team during that period. But I talk also biologic factors. If some women have their womb is not well formed, so they have abnormalities in the womb itself. So the baby cannot stay there for a very long time. So that could also result in a preterm delivery. Then some people to the cervix, that is the mouth of the womb, is weak. So if you don't take time, once the baby grows, gains weight, then the cervix gives way, and then that incites a preterm labor. But then there are also, it's very, very important, social and social factors and lifestyle factors. So you can see this woman is very, very stressed. So any form of stress can incite a preterm labor. Psychological stress, emotional stress, physical stress. So husbands have to really, really take care of their pregnant women.
Could you repeat that bit for me?
Yes, we have to. Husbands have to give them the comfort they need during pregnancy, because they could incite a preterm labor. Could see that this woman is very, very stressed. So you need to comfort them, not stress them up. And then when you look at smoking, alcohol, all those things are social factors. And another thing I have to stress is poor antenatal attendance. If pregnant women don't come to antenatal, some of these factors that I've enumerated, we could identify them early. Once we identify them early, we put in interventions to make sure that you don't have a preterm delivery. So preterm labor can be prevented, very preventable. I know that there are some situations where it's inevitable. As I told you, when the mother's life is at risk, we will elect to deliver you before time. So it's very, very important that women attend antenatal care. An example is when we realize that you have a weakened cervix early in pregnancy, we can tie that cervix. We can put a stitch around that cervix to strengthen it so that your baby stays in for quite some time before coming out, so that you don't have a preterm delivery. So these are very, very important causes, but there is hope. We can prevent this. Prevention starts and begins with a healthy mother and a mother having regular antenatal care. I can't overemphasize the antenatal attendance, because it's the key. It's the key to prevention of preterm labor. So at antenatal, we will make a huge assessment, thorough assessment, and make sure that if there is any risk that we can eliminate, we take it away, keep an eye on you. And even when you come in, let's say you are already in an established preterm labor, there is nothing we can do. But there is something we can do. We can give medications that will mature the baby's lungs. In Selina's case,
that's what happened?
Yes, she had steroids that mature the lungs, for the baby, so that the baby has a higher chance of survival once the baby comes out. So that's good. Another thing, to give medication that will protect the brain, so the baby's brain too is not well developed at that gestation, but the baby will be able to have a normal brain function. Yeah.
So the goal here, if you're pregnant, antenatal is key.
Yeah.
It's key. All those petty excuses, and we have to pay close attention to that. And Selina, with your situation when it comes to antenatal care, how was it like?
It's like the same question with the things I was saying. It's like
it's magic. Yeah,
it's very important, and I think I mentioned that I'm grateful that I had a support system into the family. Also, I had access to good care when it comes to the antenatal stage. So it was regular, and it was also the doctors, the healthcare professionals around me were accessible. And it was also intimate and private. Like, you can always reach out to your doctor at any time. They would explain, answer my questions if I had any. I enjoyed those moments, going to scan. I looked forward to it, looking at the scan. I remember the doctor doing the scan and saying that, oh, it's a boy. I said, a boy?
No, why?
I was just because I just looked at the relationship between myself and I'd always imagined myself having a girl as a first born. So I said, Doc, is it possible that when I'm going to deliver it will turn into a girl? He said, do you know where you are? You know what kind of doctor I am? But this is to tell you that I had good antenatal care. I had the support, and by God's grace, because I'm also educated, I can read and I can ask questions. I can WhatsApp something to my immediate family who are also in the health space as well. And also the doctor and the midwife was such a blessing. If not for God who used that midwife, I don't know what would have happened, because that was the arguments I'm talking about. That the doctor wanted to force labor and no, emergency cesarean now. I believe it was God's intervention to save our lives. Otherwise, maybe we'll not be sharing this beautiful story and how much that is impacted. So to answer your question, I was encouraged to attend antenatal care. I understood what it meant for me to do it. And I'm grateful that I had access to, good medical care.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is still Good Living segment time right here on Prime Morning. My name is Asia Duakomi. I'm seated here with Selina. Selina has an amazing preterm journey, and she's here to share it all. But she has an organization that is doing so well, supporting mothers who have experienced what she has experienced, and even on different levels when it comes to preterm babies. And I also have Dr. Kwashie on the other end, who's taking us through the medical aspects and we understanding properly preterm babies. Doc, what is kangaroo mother care?
Good. So happy for you to ask that. Kangaroo mother care is a very, very simple intervention, skin-to-skin contact between the baby, the preterm baby, and then the mother. When preterm babies are born, one of the challenges they face is temperature regulation. They are not able to regulate their body temperature, so they can become very cold, and that could result in infection, can result in their heart not beating well, could cause a host of problems.
So your warmth?
Yes, warmth. So it's just skin-to-skin contact. You can see in your shots this beautiful mother having skin-to-skin contact with the baby to help the baby control its body temperature, and also enforces bonding between the mother. You can see now we even talk of a kangaroo father care. So it's not only the mothers that can do that. I mean, it's warmth. So fathers too can provide warmth. So we do kangaroo father care as well.
Nice. Okay. All right. So do you have any more that you would love to show us?
I just wanted to emphasize that, the care for the preterm bonds may vary from just simple skin contact, as in the kangaroo mother care, as well as intensive care. We try to prevent preterm birth, but some are inevitable. We need to have capacity to take care of these preterm bonds in the NICU. So our NICU should be well equipped all over the country in order to be able to...
That leads me to a question that I wanted to ask earlier. Earlier, you mentioned a figure that about 15 million preterm babies are born every year.
In the entire world.
In the entire world.
Yeah.
Every year. Are we doing good in relation to the numbers?
Well, the numbers are actually increasing more.
Yeah.
And generally, right now, every 10 newborns, more than one is a preterm.
Preterm, yeah.
Every 10 newborns, more than one is a preterm. So the problem is real. And we really, really need to mobilize resources, partnership with all stakeholders to ensure that these babies receive adequate care when they do come out. You don't want to be referring a preterm born and then you are told that there is no bed. That is scary. It's scary for that baby. And we want to, and as part of the national newborn health strategy, they are training all health care personnel to be able to provide essential newborn care, the pre-referral care, even if we're at the lowest level of the healthcare system before referral, so that you see when they come, they receive adequate breathing support, because the main problem is breathing. They are not able to breathe well because their lungs are not well matured.
Yeah.
So when they come out, we need to support them.
Okay.
And then as they grow and their lungs pick up, and then they can grow and be as tall and grow very, very well and thrive.
Selena, how old is your boy now?
Oh, Ken is 10. I don't know if you guys have just...
He's 10 now.
Yeah, he's a really tall kid for a 10-year-old, you will not believe. And just to say that here in Ghana, complications arising from prematurity contributes, we can say that it's leading cause of death when it comes to under 5 mortality here in Ghana. And we are yet to advance, but I have to be honest that I always say that if my baby survived here and there are other babies who also survived, something is working. So the situation is not all that bad. However, can we improve?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work.
And it will not, science is critical to the survival process of our babies. However, science ends at one point, and then there's community, then there's the government, the policy. So there's a social implication and the economic implication of preterm birth. So to tackle this issue, we need, like Doc said, it has to be stakeholders coming together to tackle it. I'll give you an example. You've done amazing work. The baby is graduated from NICU and is gone home. Then the grandmother, not in all cases, but a family member, I would not say the grandmother, I would rather say a family member who the mother might trust could give advice opposite what's
in doctors have advised. Yes.
And if that happens, we are back to square one. There's relapse all the time, Doc, right?
Yeah.
Back to the NICU. And maybe it might be too late. And so if we finish the work in the NICU and we leave the community continuous awareness campaign, like the myths and misconceptions to reduce that, making sure that in the household, the decision makers in the communities, you bring them on board. Let them embrace the knowledge, empower them so that they will serve as bodyguards. So I think when you said that, when we're working with mothers, no, we don't just work with mothers. Every member of the community, including industry, which is the companies, that's in organizations whose work is around women and children, manufacturing, companies, civil society groups, don't leave everybody out, because guess what? If you are watching us and you are assuming that, this is about some people, wait, your your most talented staff suffers preterm birth. And because of that, after 3 months, she can't leave that 1 kilo baby and come to work. And if, because she has to secure her job, she comes, you should be 100% sure that you not have a woman who is in a good frame of mind to give you her best like she used to.
You know, I'm actually lost in this conversation because there are so many avenues, there are so many spots that we can touch. I've already seen a number of spots that we can touch to advance this conversation, and that's the reason that we are, the entire month, every single Tuesday right here on Prime Morning, we are dedicating to speaking about preterm babies, because we need to really understand and be highly knowledgeable about this, because this is a whole new conversation altogether. It's a whole new conversation altogether. Doc, the question I want to ask you is, I love the fact that, Selena mentioned, when I asked about her boy, she said, oh yeah, he's 10 now.
He's doing amazing.
He's doing amazing now and all that. When you have a preterm baby, when they grow, does it tell on them in any way? Do they have any health implications down along the line as you're growing in any way? Yeah.
So this is highly dependent on the type of care they received during the neonatal period.
Okay.
So if you are able to give adequate care to these preterm borns, you can never tell them apart. They do excellent, have the highest potential as much as possible.
Okay.
But if they don't receive the good care, say they were delivered, they didn't receive good oxygenation,
okay,
they didn't receive the resuscitation that they need, and then they have some brain injury during the neonatal period,
right,
then this can translate into a very poor outcome.
Okay.
They may have cerebral palsy and all neurological complications.
Wow.
But once they receive the good care, what they need, you will never be able to tell them apart.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you very much. Like I said, there's so much that we have to learn, okay? But Selena, you have an event coming up. I want us to talk about it. And so, Doc, please come have a seat. We'll continue, that conversation. It's all about what? The Second Preterm Prematurity Summit 2025. Okay, so Selena, let's talk about that.
So for the entire month, it is Purple Month, and so we are creating awareness at the community level. And so this is stakeholder engagement. Remember I mentioned that we can't leave the job to the healthcare community alone. They do amazing work. And let's use the opportunity to say thank you to the nurses, the doctors, all health professionals who wear your hearts on your sleeve to save our babies in NICU. You do amazing. And we need to be able to bring stakeholders on board. And so this year, we are focusing on increasing investment in neonatal care. Where are the gaps? What can we do to ensure that we don't leave any baby behind? Currently, we know that most mothers in our engagement, parents, the cost of care in NICU is expensive, and the quota that NHIS covers can be better. I'm choosing my word carefully, can be better, so that a baby should not pass on because the mother couldn't afford to buy medication that is not covered by NHIS.
Yeah.
So where are the gaps? What can we do? Cost of oxygen. The reality is that in some hospitals, you have to pay for these oxygen. And imagine if the baby has to stay on it for a week, 2, or more. And so it is not just about that, but in terms of the advancement of knowledge to encourage best practices, how do we encourage continuous development for our healthcare professionals at the community level? And also, how do we encourage innovation in the space so that we can improve the situation? So we decided that we launched a multi-sectorial summit on prematurity, which were all sectors to come together. There's also an aspect that has to do with policy. How do we lobby with government to make sure that our babies are not left behind? We minimize their impact and also the social and economic impact of it. And so this is a multi-sector where you will see medical professionals, parents and patients advocates, industries whose products and services target our babies, mothers, families, and all of that coming together to tackle the issue. So we have a clinical panel discussions.
Okay.
We have keynote addresses, and then we will have the policy panel discussion, and then we have the community panel discussion, where we look at the policy aspects. We have Dr. Anefi Asamoah, former Deputy Director General for World Organization, who will be speaking on sustainable healthcare financing, because the healthcare financing space, the landscape is shifting. You've heard it. USAID is pulling out. Every country is now becoming intentional, prioritizing their own. How prepared is the country to meet the deficit? Because very soon, where we are going for funding, conversations might change and it will not be business as usual. So how do we prepare? These are the topics that we are expecting representatives from Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, National Health Insurance Authority. So we can we will start the conversation and then look at proposals, recommendations that will help us to make sure that every baby everywhere in Ghana receive the best possible start in healthcare. For the scientific conversations, it will just help us to know what can we do differently. And the beautiful thing is that in all the panel discussions, you have parent voices. Reverend Steve Mensah,
I think I saw that, parents advocate.
His son survived, and he will be speaking, sharing his story to amplify the voices. And then with the community engagement, we have experts who have been working at the community level to drive initiatives that are impacting. So that's why I said this is a multi-sector engagement, and our goal is that with the outcome, we will present this and then use this to advocate for increasing investments in neonatal care.
All right, so it's happening on the 12th to the 13th of November at Wesley Towers, Accra, Ghana. And so please, we all need to be a part of this. But then, like I did say, the entire month of November, we are dedicating it to, pushing the awareness and educating all of us when it comes to preterm babies. And so, Selina, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, our time is up. All right, so Dr. Kwashie, thank you so much for the presentation as well. And that's it for today's edition of Prime Morning. My name is Asiedua Akomia. My guests were Selina Bentum, the founder, African Foundation for Premature Babies and Newborn Care, and Dr. Selorm Makafui Kwashie, specialist obstetrician and gynecologist.